Okay guys, today we are making a key for a desk lock. This came out of a desk drawer, and it is a full mortise lock, and it is 2 lever, and you'll notice it's got the lever, and the bolt. And had the customer pick out which key they wanted. Could have been cut on any of these. And I chose this one. Good choice. Good choice. And so today we're going to make a key. We're going to see how long it takes. So we're going to take their choice. If it doesn't fit in this way, you have to file it down. I'm going to be using a cutter, a slaughter to do some of the work. But you can always just do this by hand. It just takes a little bit longer. So we'll see that the blade is perfectly of length, and it is a little bit too wide, so we're going to bottom the key out, and we're going to make sure there's no warding in there, which there's not, that would keep it from sitting flush. And pushing it down from the top here, I'm going to take a scribe, and I'm going to scribe the edge of the blade and the tip of the blade, so that when I take it out, I can see that scribe mark and cut away what needs to cut away. Now on this particular lock, the bolt is off center, so there's kind of a dead space on the tip here. The bolt is actually like one wafer, and you could actually have another lever in here and make it pretty super secure, but they didn't. So dead space, bolt, and the 2 levers. And if we look really close, we can see that it's not going to turn until we cut this down, and we can see our scribe mark right there. So basically we're going to file that off. Alright, here we can see that basically we filed it down, and since I'm using a slaughter, I did not go all the way. I leave just a bit right here. Now the one good thing about these keys is they're solid brass, so they're a little bit easier to manipulate. Now in the process of doing this, I'm going to use this needle file flat on both sides, and I'm going to go ahead and smooth it down to the shank of the key, and go ahead and knock the edges down and check it. Always cut slowly, because in barrel key making, once you go too far with your cut, you are not in good shape. So I didn't go deep enough here, but that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and file it down a little bit more. I don't want to take a chance on the machine taking too much off. And it is soft brass. If we would have done this one, which is a cast metal, it a little bit different cutting of them. That metal kind of melts in the machine, so I have to use hand files. Still pretty good ways up. Let's go ahead and knock it down on the machine. Now since that's a slaughter, you can't go side to side. It's only made for straight in and out. You can knock a little bit of brass off by moving it, but to widen a cut, you've got to go parallel every time. Oh, where'd our lock go? There it is. Alright, so we got the key bypassing where it needs to go, and And here is where we're going to determine where the bolt hits it and where the levers hit it. Now on this one, it's in the locked position. So it looks like the bolt is not, it's bypassing the bolt perfectly. So we don't need to cut down there, but we do need to cut down for the levers. So typically if this was locked on a cabinet, this is where your candle and your impressioning method would come in. You can mark it by the marks that come up, but since we've got it out and can see how everything works, we don't have to worry about that. So basically what's happening here is those levers are, they're going all the way up and they're hitting, and that's not letting the bolt pass the cutouts in these two levers. So we have to cut the key down. So from, I know it's pretty hard to see because I didn't bring my flashlight, but it's lifting both levers up. And if I look here on top, it's lifting the lever closest to the bolt up pretty good ways in the other one. So I'm actually going to start on the edge closest to the bow of the key and cut that down. There's no real guide for how deep you need to go, but there's usually 3 depth levers or 4 depth levers in most of the antiques that we see over here, so it's not nearly as bad as 3, 4, 5 lever, really high secure. So since it's in the locked position, we're gonna have to go over on this side and just hold it up. Let's see if that top, okay, that top is falling down some. So what happens is there's a notch above and a notch below, and you got to get it between those. So we definitely need to go down on the next one. Alright, let me show you this while I'm seeing it. Since this is brass and it marks so well, we're getting a good bolt mark there. And we are getting a good mark there, which if this was locked and you were having to do it, that is a surefire indication that you need to cut down here. We're going to hold off on that because I know it's the bolt and I know it passes the bolt, and I think it needs to maybe just come down a little bit, but let's see. At this point, we're going to knock this decorative finish off the blade of the key and start our rounding of it here. I think we can, safe to just take that down a little bit. I call this the staircase key because it's, hold on, let me tap my camera here, because it's beginning to look a little staircased. So where'd the lock go again? I keep putting the lock down in a different spot. So see what we're like on that. Okay, we can see here that I need to go over just a bit more because this wafer here will hit this, so I need to cut it a little bit more. So what I'm doing here is squaring up the cuts. And making them perfectly vertical. And then rounding the edges, because they do need not to have sharp edges like a regular key. So you want to kind of chamfer the tip of the key. Let's see where we're at here. Alright, so looks like we're getting close. Let's see if we get any impressioning marks. Let's look up here and we can tell. I bet that's because it is still just barely on it, and actually that other cut needs to go down right here, the number 1 lever. Alright, square it up again. Okay, sorry, I got way distracted by several things. Let's see where we're at here. We have cut it down a little bit. Let's see if it works first. I haven't checked it yet. So we're kind of still at the same point where looks like that second one is going up too high. If I would guess, that first one is good. Let's see if we get any marks. Getting a mark there for sure. So that second one needs to come down. Oh dear, I moved my file earlier and didn't bring it back. All right. Okay, so we're getting an actuation here. It's going a little bit further than it was. Looks like that one needs to go down a bit more. But everything else is lining up, so we need to take that one down just a bit more. Alright, we're perfectly flat there. Seems kind of unusual, but let's see. Let's see what's going on. Still need to drop it down on that one. Okay, we should be there. Got some lacquer on the sides here. Typically, if you don't use these, it'll get kind of gooed up on the edges, and when somebody especially if somebody refinishes it, we can see this finish that is causing that bolt to be a little bit sticky on opening and closing. So we're going to get those little burrs off, top and bottom, and then test our key. Okay, it's a little tight. Let's see what the reason for that is. There's a little bit of a catch, but it also hasn't been squared up well. Alright, so I smoothed off the key and gave it the rounded edges that it needs. There's a little bit more there. Yeah, let's see what we're like. Much smoother. Now, when she goes to try these keys in her other cabinet drawers, they're probably going to be pretty sticky because of that. So I'll tell her if she has any light oil to drop it in here. And we'll do that here. This is a Zoom spout, just a base oil. So take a little bit, drop on the levers, drop on the bolt, and work the key in and out. And wipe it down with a paper towel. Well, it's not going to hurt the metal at all. So there we have it. Thanks for watching, guys.